Alright, we've got some serious stuff to talk about. And it comes down to one easy but pretty horrifying question. What's worse, brittle UI tests or zombies? So there's some bad things about zombies that we need to be aware of. They multiply. You know, there's this whole thing of they go kill other people and those people turn into zombies, and it's this geometric kind of Andromeda strain-like wave of new zombies coming out. They multiply. They cause nightmares. People freak out about zombies, and rightfully so. Causes nightmares, and you get all stressed. Zombies dress badly. I mean, have you ever seen a well-dressed zombie? I mean, I'm not the world's greatest dresser, but holy cow, you know, there's this whole ripped-up clothing and, you know, stuff that gets torn up when they come up out of the grave. It's just, they dress badly. It's low class. They run fast, depending on which movie you're watching. You know, it's hard to get away from fast-running zombies. If you're not faster than the zombie, you're going to be a zombie. And then, you know, there's the minor detail of they eat your brain. Death is a bad thing. Well, is it really death? Because they're zombies, so they're kind of undead. So undeath is a bad thing. But brittle UI tests have a lot of bad things about them too. They multiply. Brittle UI tests are often caused by some fundamental misunderstandings of how test automation works in your environment with your system. And you start off with those misunderstandings, and you get one bad test, and it turns to two, and pretty soon you've got hundreds of brittle UI tests chasing you around. Brittle UI tests also cause nightmares, and it comes to the root of you can't trust your tests. You don't know if you've got passing things that shouldn't be passing. You don't know if you have false test failures or if it's just some odd condition. And then you begin to question the whole underpinning of your approach to quality. So UI automation isn't the only part of your quality approach. It shouldn't be. But this is something that allows you to focus on other things. And if it's not working, that's bad. UI automation tests, bad ones, run slowly. Now, slow zombies are good because you can get away from them. But with UI automation, it's slow by nature, and if you have stuff that's running even more slowly because they're badly done UI tests, all of a sudden you're not getting good feedback cycles. Instead of being able to get status on your system in an hour or 2 hours, you're having runs that have to take overnight or even days. And this is bad. The whole point of good automation is to get rapid feedback on the risk and status of your system. There's something else, and that's that I have to fix grammar things, so they run slowly. More importantly, bad UI tests eat your brains, just like zombies. And they eat your brains in the sense of you're having to spend too much time worrying and fixing and dealing with your broken UI tests instead of using your awesome skills as a tester to be able to focus on other value-add things, writing other automation for new areas, or doing awesome things like exploratory testing, talking with your stakeholders, all of the other things that great testers do. Bad automation prevents that because it eats your brain worrying about it. So why are zombies so scary? I think this is a good thing to understand. You can't bribe them off with beer and pizza. You know, you want them to leave you alone, but they're just not going to listen. Doesn't matter. Zombies are a distraction. Instead of being able to relax on the beach or by the pool with a good book or enjoy time with your family, you're running for your life. Zombies are distracting. They're a horde. It's not just one or two zombies that you got to get away from. Well, unless it's Shaun of the Dead, and then you've got your best friend locked up in the yard shed, but that's a different point. Normally it's this horde of zombies chasing after you, and that's crazy. I mean, it's not just something that's easy to get away from. They're all over the place. Did I mention this whole brain eating thing? So what's scary about brittle UI tests? Because I think there are a few things that are pretty scary about that. First off, they're distracting just like the zombies. Rather than being able to focus my time and energy On other things that are more interesting, I'm spending my time fixing these broken tests. And it's crazy. Brittle UI tests are just like a horde of zombies. There's a wave of them because generally it's not just one or two brittle failing tests. Those come about. You can work with those. But instead, too often it is this mad, psychic, crushing weight of a huge mess of UI tests that are failing and brittle. And did I mention that whole thing about they eat your brains just like real zombies? Don't forget that. But there's one thing above all, that terrifies me about brittle UI tests. Forget the brains, forget the horde, forget all the bad clothing. The scariest thing about brittle UI tests that just outweighs anything about zombies, XPath. Way too many brittle UI tests are due to bad XPath that's just crazy, and this is scary stuff. If you've worked with XPath, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So how do you fix brittle UI tests? This might be a little more scary effort than trying to deal with zombies even. You've got to fix the team skills. The team has to learn how to use your automation tools really well. They've got to learn how to use them in your environment because every environment is subtly different. You've got to learn how to build good locators, good find logic. You have to learn how to deal with asynchronous situations like Ajax and other things. You've got to fix a process. You need to be discussing test automation early before any code gets written because that way your designers and your developers can help you create testable systems. You've got to fix team culture because I just mentioned that you've got to get more discussion going and you have to have your testers talking to developers. And that may be a little scarier than trying to deal with zombies sometimes. You've got to fix team expectations. It's going to take time to learn to do this well. And you've got to work with management so that they understand that automation is not the testing or quality answer. It's merely a part of it. And you've got to rein in expectations that we'll just take these 3,000 manual test cases and we'll run them through this tool and everything will be unicorns and bacon. It doesn't work that way. You've got to get proper expectations. UI automation is a terrific part of an overall quality strategy, but if you're not careful, it's going to be a bigger mess than trying to fight off hordes of zombies. Thanks for watching this.